We're at TRE 2025. This is day 2, so deep enough into this crazy 2 days where I can say that I think Brooks has the most impressive, visible lineup, and maybe just lineup as a whole. We've made it to Tina, our shoe expert, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shoes to show. First, we got to talk about this very new shoe that Katelyn really loved yesterday.
I did. Okay, so the new shoe, the Glycerin Flex.
Yeah.
I was loving this because I heard that this was Brooks's response to maximalism. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of review it and talk about it, because a lot of the consumer insights that we received were through our efforts working on like a Glycerin Max and a Ghost Max. So we were hearing from consumers, again, who love that shoe. They were like, oh, I love how cushioned it is. I love how soft it is. And then we had this one outlier that essentially was telling us like, okay, this feels great, but like I've kind of lost my connection to the ground. I've lost my connection to the run and to footwear in general. And I want that proprioception back. And we're like, okay, all these people, great. You feel good about Max? What's going on here? And so like we unpacked that a lot more, and we wanted to understand like, what does it mean to give cushion but proprioception as well? So,
And that's where the S groove comes in.
yes, absolutely. So if you look at the construction, obviously Katelyn's doing an amazing job of holding it there, but we have that flex zone in the midfoot. And that goal there is as soon as you go from heel to toe, you're really unlocking that foot. So you're letting those metatarsals splay out, you're getting that connection to the ground, but then if you flex it back towards that medial side, that's where the support comes in. I think that's what makes it completely unique compared to, say, a minimal shoe that we would do in the past, is we want to make sure that all of our shoes have support. And so if you have something that's too hyper flexible, you're going to make your foot do too much work, and then you're at risk of injuries. So we're adding support back into that medial side. And I think one of the bonuses is that as well as basically anybody who has a late stage pronation, it really kind of cradles that first met head and creates that nice toe off point as well.
Okay, and last question, who's this shoe for?
All right, so that's a good question. It's for everybody. So I think that's what we're trying to show with the range of our line right now, is that we have promises based on the name of our shoes. So the Glycerin has a promise, a Cascadia has a promise, a Hyperion has a promise, but what we want to do is give experiences in those series. So again, you see the Glycerin, which is maybe smooth and balanced, and then you have a Max, which again is more of that max cushion proposition, but you're going to get a lot more foam, so you're going to lose that connection to the ground. So what we're finding is that anybody can run in this. It's supportive for long runs, for short runs, for walking, but it really is for someone who just wants to feel like their foot is doing the work, and that it can flex a little bit more than, say, in their traditional shoe. So if you like the Glycerin, you can try it as a new experience, because it is going to give you a unique feeling that your body isn't used to, so it's worth trying out.
Great, thank you.
I think the main challenge for runners who are looking to buy a Brooks shoe is which one should I get? Now, I've been a fan of the Glycerin series for a really long time. I tossed this under here. And what I really liked about the Glycerin 22 last year is that the foam profile got an upgrade and was really, really nice as an easy running shoe. I loved it for just my daily recovery runs. This is the Glycerin 23. Slight updates. Can you tell me how it's a bit different from the Glycerin 22?
For sure. So if you like the Glycerin 23, it's a pretty natural update. So when we debuted the latest version, we updated to our DNA Tune. So just a little refresher on DNA Tune. It's basically a really soft foam, but we can play with the cell size to make it more responsive or make it soft, depending on where you want it. So the large cell, we concentrate in that heel. So again, you get that really kind of soft cushion in the heel, but then as soon as you go to the toe off, we use more of that small cell, and that really makes it nice and responsive as well. So again, we can take this foam and tune it in a bunch of different ways to give a really unique experience to the consumer. So the biggest update we've done is we've actually gone from a 10 drop to an 8 drop. And so what we're doing is we're giving you more cushioning under that forefoot. So you're just getting more comfort, more small cell to be able to toe off. So that's been a really big update. And again, adding little comfort touches, the flat knit heel piece, and then obviously a nice breathable upper.
And then the Glycerin's big brother, the Glycerin Max, the OG came out in late 2024. This is the second version of the Glycerin Max. Super trainer, had a bit more of a rock forward profile than your Glycerin 23. I liked it for up-tempo runs, some workouts, some long runs.
Okay.
This is Glycerin Max 2.
Yep.
How is it different from the one, and also what's the best use case for it?
Yes, very good question. So I will say Glycerin Max 2 in general, one of the biggest updates that we've seen is how we're activating that DNA tuned material. So we had something I think really impactful from the Glycerin Max one. I feel like a lot of the consumer insights back to us where people were just saying like, wow, this is something that I feel like I'm going to have to squish too much, but it actually is quite responsive. To your point, we had people telling us that they were doing long runs in it, that they were able to do, tempo runs, which was not the intended purpose. But when you're able to really adjust that small cell in the forefoot to be nice and responsive, you can use it for a myriad of purposes. So if you like the Glycerin Max 1, the good news is the 2 is pretty consistent. So you're keeping that DNA-tuned material. So again, a little bit softer in the heel, a little bit more responsive in the forefoot. But when you look at the geometries, you see it open up a lot more. So what we're trying to do is activate it a little bit more than we did before. So you see that foam compress, so you're just gonna get a little bit more softness and bounce at toe off.
Okay.
But other than that, same great fit, same great experience, so really a consistent update from the 1 to the 2.
So while this may not be the most traditional super trainer for everyone, I think the Hyperion Max line is Brooks's classic super trainer with a bit more muscle and power. The Max 3 was surprisingly powerful, like probably the most powerful Brooks shoes I'd worn. So I'm excited to see the 4. How's the 4 different from the 3?
Yeah, so 4, again, going, we were just talking about Glycerin Max 2, kind of a natural trajectory. Hyperion Max is the same. So if you guys remember Hyperion Max 2 to 3, it was a pretty big step for us,
Completely
right?
different.
We jacked up the stack height, we went with a very interesting upper execution, and then we added our DNA Gold, which was in our Hyperion Elite. So we were like, hey, we're gonna throw everything at it. And so because of that, let's take a second and focus on the upper. And so that's what we're doing for the Hyperion Max 4. We were starting to get some insights from our sub-elites and our elite runners that essentially they were like, hey, we love the super foams of my Hyperion Elite, but we wanted something just a little bit more breathable, but then just like softer touch points. People were seeing irritation in these kind of super trainers. And so we wanted to dial that back and say like, okay, let's give them something that's lightweight and breathable, but let's make sure we focus on the locked in fit of the heel. Make sure we focus on touch points that were a little bit softer, so that way any irritation points got out of the way and they could just focus on their long run. So that was the goal for Hyperion Max 4.
I'm honestly surprised that there's already an update given how different the 3 was from the 2. Perfect use case for this?
Honestly, long run tempos. It really, it bounces back. It provides a great stability point, but honestly, once you kind of get into that rhythm, I feel like it really shines. So.
One more from the Alex train before we move on to Katelyn and the trail world. And I saved this one for last because it's the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
This is the Hyperion Elite series, the 6. Just holding it, it looks like it's got a bit more muscle to it, a bit more power.
That's a good way to put it.
Just makes me want to race.
It
just
makes
looking
me,
at
I mean,
that shoe.
I ran enough this morning. I'm down to wait a couple days. But give me the lowdown on this shoe. How is it different from the 5?
Yeah, so definitely another big update. So you guys probably remember Hyperion Elite 4, Hyperion Elite 4 PB. So that was based on insights from our elite runners that essentially it was like kind of a more mechanical feeling. So they wanted the shoe to kind of feel like an augmentation of their body, really propel them forward. Fast forward, we go to Hyperion Elite 5, and a lot of those insights came from Des, and she prefers like a more natural type of feeling.
That's Des Linden, obviously.
Exactly, yes, good call out.
For the one
buddy
viewer
Des.
who doesn't know Des Linden,
Exactly.
you're welcome.
But that was for you. The cool thing about that is it felt very natural, but as we start to transition and grab more elite insights, we really wanted to focus on CJ Albertson for the creation of Hyperion Elite 6. And so you called it out, Alex, but I think one of the unique things that we've done with this version is we've actually adjusted the bevel and the toe spring. So if you look at kind of the in-between zones, there's definitely more meat of DNA Gold than ever before. So it's crazy to say because World Athletic Standards set us at a certain stack height, and so we have to hit that stack height. But there's more DNA Gold, new and improved DNA Gold in here than the Hyperion Elite 5 with the same standards. So this DNA Gold, again, is more responsive, it's lighter. So this is actually not the finished version. We still have a couple works in progress here, but the goal is really that transfer of power that CJ was wanting from heel to toe, and then just getting it lighter, faster, and more efficient than ever.
Okay, so taking a look at this, I was like, wait a second, the Ghost a trail version of the Ghost. So tell me about this. This is brand new.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely brand new. Just came out. Honestly, like we were talking about before with the Glycerin series, we have a certain promise there.
Yep.
Our Ghost promise is essentially like the perfect blend. It really is all of our expertise, all of our mastery in one perfect shoe that's smooth and balanced. And so what we wanted to do is provide that, but on the road to trail surface. So if you look at this, it looks pretty similar to a Ghost, but there are certain nuances that make it better for road to trail.
Okay.
So the first thing is the upper. If you look at the upper, Katelyn, you can see obviously we've closed the backside, so it's a little bit more reinforced, so dirt and debris will not get
Durable.
in. Very durable.
Yes.
And then we've actually added this 3D print here. So those zones there will basically be for flexible protection. So you're probably going to do more, I would say, gravel, maybe smooth terrain on this. But if you do decide to go a little bit more rocks, a little bit more roots, at least you have protection in the upper.
Yeah, and you definitely have some really nice tread.
Yes.
So I would feel like even though you're saying that this is kind of like a road to trails, I feel like if I got stuck in some tricky trails, I still have enough tread to feel like I'm not going to slip. And I'm not, yeah, so this seems like a really nice all-around trail shoe.
100%.
Yeah.
So I know you're the trail connoisseur. I actually ran my first trail race this summer,
you
and I
did?
ran it in the Ghost Trail. It was a lot of smooth paved paths, but again, there was some parking lot, there was some trail, a couple roots and rocks, and it was perfect.
It went great
So,
over everything.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome to the Rotation Ghost Trail.
Exactly.
And this shoe I'm really excited about. I'm always excited about these because my first trail shoe, starting out too many years ago, was the Cascadia. I mean, so it's been one of my favorites like for many, many, many years. So tell me, what is different about this? What version are we on now here?
Number 20.
Number 20.
Number 20.
Okay, see, I'm not trying to like,
Wow,
give my.
you're old.
Thank you, Alex. I knew that was coming, but
Calling you
anyway.
out.
So number 20. So what can we see? What are the differences between the last version and this version?
Yeah, so Cascadia, again, when we go to those promises again, the Cascadia, we're going to start to expand that in the future, and we're going to get a little preview of that after this. But we want to basically lean into this concept of adaptability.
Okay.
So obviously, when you're on the road, you're on 2D surfaces. When you're on the trail, 3D surfaces. So there's so many variables. So what we want to do is really lean into that from a design language point of view. So if you look at how we've done this, we're calling this Trail Adapt. So essentially, we create these compression points here, in here, that leads into that midfoot to be super, super flexible. So obviously, roots, rocks, anything, it's able to adapt and make sure that you're not kind of kicking over one way or the other. So that's really using kind of this midfoot flex zone there, but then the compression to make sure that it's compressing through all surfaces.
Okay.
But then when you look at Ghost Trail, this upper is a little bit more reinforced, and if you touch that toe cap,
Yeah, look at
again,
this, yeah.
just a little bit more protection.
Yeah,
overall.
even more durable.
Exactly.
Which we need on those tough trails.
100%.
And I'm really excited about this. I would love to try to race in this. So we have now the Cascadia, but look at this super shoe, race shoe. Tell me about this. I mean, I'm not getting any rocks in here. No mud.
Absolutely
I have
not.
like a built-in gator.
Yep.
This is amazing.
Yep. Well, you've already tried to take it, so I was like, are we going to be able to talk about this? Because you were already ready to go
I was
out
walking
the door.
off. I was walking out the door for my race on Saturday.
So this is the Cascadia Elite. If you've been on social media, it's leaked a little bit, mainly because we're putting it on our athletes. So again, what are our athletes doing in this? How can we set them up to succeed? Same thing, obviously using like Des Insights and using obviously CJ Insights. We've used a lot of insights from Chris Myers, who recently got second at Western States in this shoe.
Wow.
So as far as your specs go, same DNA gold that we're using in Hyperion Elite. So again, 100% PBA, our best super foam. But what we've done is created basically a carbon-infused P-Bax plate. So it starts in the heel, but then it basically wishbones out into the forefoot. So as you know, like if you create something that's unstable on the forefoot, you're just going to kick out.
Right.
So what we're doing is creating those stability points on the edges, but then that forefoot can actually compress, and that way you have more stable or stability over adaptable terrain.
Yeah,
so,
right. Terrain.
but to your point, again, no rocks getting
look at
in
this.
there.
I love this.
And actually for this knit collar as well, the ease of entry is actually pretty good. So it's really hard, that fine line of like, when is it too tight and suffocating versus like when you can get in. Especially for Western States or UTMB, you might be changing your shoes multiple times.
Right.
So we want to make sure that access is pretty easy.
But you won't have to take them off to take a rock out, which is something we often have to do as trail runners. So this is a nice extra little security that you're not going to get sand in the shoes. Amazing.
100%.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we are using a matrix upper. So basically Kevlar fibers that are super minute, but it makes it super, super strong, but very lightweight as well, and hydrophobic. So again, rounding it out top to bottom, just a great shoe for someone, you know, racing for all terrains.
Or on Saturday. Or on Saturday.
Or on Saturday.
Or on Saturday.
It's been nice knowing you, Sample.
Okay, keep the camera going. I noticed there's something here that doesn't look like anything else we've talked about. And Tina, you've been great, but I'm wondering if you're hiding this from us.
Well, not on purpose, but I guess if it's there, I guess
What
we
is
have
this?
to bring it out.
What is this?
How dare you hide something from us, Tina?
Well, I didn't mean to. It wasn't on purpose. But we should talk about it. It's here, right? Of course. So this is the all-new Ghost Amp. So you heard that right, Ghost Amp. So again, we're trying to build more promises. We brought in the Ghost Trail, but we didn't want to stop there. So our Ghost consumer, again, is the most discerning. But we were finding in some of those insights, like we had that Max consumer and we found the Flex insight. Through our Ghost consumers, we found out that they were looking for something on the side that had just more energy, more pop. But when we asked them, what would you change about your Ghost? They would say nothing. And we were like, okay, that's a weird juxtaposition because we want to keep that going for you, but then there's something there that's unique. And so in comes the Ghost Amp. So we have an all-new foam called DNA Hype, which is Puma blended with EVA. Okay. So again, kind of bringing in a little bit of that responsive foam into the Ghost portal, the Ghost series. But then we've created this technology called Spring Ramp. And what that is, instead of using a plate to provide propulsion, we actually are engineering the foam to create that shape to be able to get that toe off. So if you think about plates, you have a lot of glue, you have a lot of layers, and a lot of times that makes the shoe stiffer. So when we actually engineer the foam into that shape, you get a nice responsive toe off, but then you're able to not have all those extra layers and really keep the shoe kind of nice and light and bouncy.
Interesting.
So yeah.
So how, like, I'm looking at it and I feel like it would serve a similar purpose to the Glycerin, like the 23 perhaps. Okay. Is that true? And two, if so, how would I go by choosing the 23 versus this new version of the Brooks Ghost?
So the Glycerin 23 is more of that like luxurious experience. Okay. So kind of that smooth feeling from heel to toe.
And I say it feels like home. Glycerin feels It feels like home when you put on a Glycerin, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. No, 100%. And I think we want to maintain that experience. So when we add like that small cell that creates responsiveness, that doesn't mean that it's an energetic. Like we want to create almost this like pop in the forefoot, so that way you come back to it time after time. So it feels like, again, you're just like creating just more energy as you go, versus that Glycerin is just going to be like sustained energy throughout the toe off. So this, I mean, you can still use for everyday training, but that Glycerin will lean luxury, where this will just be that like energetic pop time after time.
Okay. Speaking of energetic pop, thank you,
Of
Tina.
course, you guys are fantastic.
This has been wonderful.
This is
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
Can't wait for 2026.
It's going to be a great year.